Sometimes it's not the loudest moment that breaks you, it's the final straw. Tyler Perry's Straw isn't just about drama, it's about the pressure that builds when no one's looking and what happens when it all comes crashing down. In this video, I'm going to break down the story, performances, and that shocking twist at the end. The straw in this context is of course a play on the saying, the last straw, or the straw that broke the camel's back. This film follows Janiyah Wilkinson, played by Taraji P. Henson, a single mother while she navigates a series of unfortunate events. Alongside Taraji is Sherry Shepherd, Tiana Taylor, Sinbad, Glenn Turman, Rockman Dunbar, and more. I really wanted to go in with an open mind, so like most other movies or shows, I didn't watch the trailer. All I saw was the poster and felt like that told enough of the story. The film starts off with a bird's eye view of Janiyah's life, and from this capsule of a moment, Tyler made sure to lay it on thick and show us her life. We see her apartment, visibly pretty dirty and small, no AC, the walls are thumping from the neighbors' loud music. She's getting her daughter ready for school, and it's made known she suffers from an illness, and Janiyah is on her about getting her science project wet. And here's when her daughter expresses she's been put on the spot by her teacher, announcing she can't afford school lunch. And here is our motive, ladies and gentlemen. This is what drives all of these events that happen to Janiyah. Feels a little like John Q. While I thought this was really relatable, I would have liked to see the motive be a little stronger, but after seeing everything unfold, I can admit it worked. So this sets the story up. On the way out, Janiyah gives her last few dollars to a neighbor in a wheelchair, which ends up being Sinbad. Can we take a moment to shout out Sinbad? This was his first acting debut in 5 years since his stroke, so I enjoyed seeing him shine again. I love that Tyler Perry included him. One thing about Tyler Perry, he is going to give people their flowers and celebrate them while they're still here. Very nice surprise. While she's handing him the money, her landlord starts yelling at her, questioning how she can give him money but not pay her rent. She threatens eviction unless rent is paid by 10 a.m. Similar vibes to One of Them Days, and the setting of the apartment actually looks similar to the one in One of Them Days too. While she's dropping her daughter Araya off, we see the principal give Janiyah an odd look, and we find out why at the end. She makes it to work at a grocery store and is met with very angry customers. Seemed like everyone was mad. Someone threw a glass bottle at her, shattering at her feet, and that's when we're met with her horrible boss, played by Turman. He's telling her to hurry up and clean it up. He's the epitome of the worst boss you can have. He's so rude and unsympathetic, and as she's grabbing a broom from the back, she receives a phone call from her daughter's school saying there's a problem and she needs to get there now. Reluctantly, her boss tells her she has 30 minutes, and he also won't give her paycheck, which is crazy. So she rushes to the bank to get Araya's lunch money, but the line is too long, so she heads back to the school. As soon as she gets there, she sees the principal and Child Protective Services taking Araya into custody. She pleads with them about how she needs her medicine, but this is a very emotional scene, and you can hear her naming a list of things that happened that led to her coming to school dirty and why she had a bruise, and you can just tell they've dismissed what she was saying as excuses. She's not being heard, and it was very heartbreaking to watch. We cut to her driving back to work, and in a rush she accidentally cuts a car off, who ends up being a disgusting police officer, and he tries to run her off the road. He threatens her life, and there was a police officer that was able to jump in and act as a barrier to this man trying to harm her, but she impounded the car due to expired documents. So she finally makes it to work, only to be fired, and her boss refuses to give her her paycheck that's sitting right on the table and says when you're fired, they have to mail you your last one. Now, his character, he played the bad guy really well because you hate him in this, but I thought it could have been played with a little more nuance. It seems like the evil boss was kind of overplayed a little bit, and things could have been a little more subtle, but still show how horrible he is. But you know, with Tyler, he's again gonna lay it on thick. And again, in this context, it worked. She gets home and her belongings are everywhere. She finds out she's been evicted. And a key thing here is Araya's backpack is here with her medication, which will come into play later on. So Taraji grabs it, heads back to her job to try to get her check. And while she's confronting her boss, two robbers hold them at gunpoint and demand the money to be put in the backpack. But she refuses. There's a struggle. Some kind of way she gets the gun and shoots the robber. But no, even though she's essentially just saved her boss's life, all of a sudden, he's accusing her of knowing the robbers and setting him up because they call her name. But that was because she was wearing a name tag. In a panic, she shoots him. Now, here, do I think there should have been more to set up her shooting him? Like maybe he lunged towards her or something and she felt she had to defend herself. But no, she just lost it and she shot him. She snapped. She takes her bloody check over to the bank across the street, and it's a little past 4, so they're closing up, but they end up unlocking the door and letting her in. A small hole here that I thought was funny was once she gets in and is with the teller, all of a sudden behind her is this line of people. Like, where did they come from? So all she wants to do is cash her check, but her ID is lost, and so the teller refuses to cash her check. So Janiyah pulls out the gun and demands she cash her check. A silent alarm is triggered, and this is when we get a true feel for Sherry Shepherd's character, the bank manager, Nicole. She recognizes Janiyah and tells the teller to cash her check, and all of a sudden the teller starts with the theatrics and starts throwing all this money at her and doing so much, and Janiyah is like, what are you doing? All I need is $521. In the meantime, Detective Raymond, played by Tiana Taylor, and Detective Grimes, already investigating the grocery store incident, are informed of the bank robbery. What I loved about Tiana's character was the way they incorporated her prior army experience to pave the way for her to serve as a negotiator. When she first arrived on the scene, she advocated for Janiyah and kind of pieced together what happened, didn't paint her as the villain, and we see them building this rapport over the phone. And Tiana opens up to her about why she's so invested, and that's because she's also a single mom, so she can relate. I want to take a moment and talk about the cast. This trio, Taraji, Tiana, and Sherry, I think this set up Taraji to win all the awards. She can really carry a lead role, and she gave it everything. But that's expected, you know. What I didn't expect was Sherry Shepherd. She really stood out to me and was my favorite character to act alongside Taraji, who has such a powerful role and is already such a powerhouse, and not get swallowed by the heaviness. That is amazing. She stood on her own and gave so much power behind her role. And the way these Black women stood behind each other and protected Taraji was amazing. Taraji even mentioned she appreciated Sherry's character, Nicole, who encouraged her to open a bank account to better protect her money, telling her the systems aren't built for us, and she lives to educate other Black people. They created such a bond in this short time, so she even asked Sherry to adopt her daughter and take care of her while she's in jail, and she agreed. And I never would have guessed why she so easily agreed until the end. What throws a wrench in the officers trying to get Janiyah to surrender is Janiyah tells them she's not until the officer who threatened her life is removed from the scene. So Detective Raymond does her own private investigation and finds the man, punches him in the face, and gets him removed. Now this is all being live streamed, by the way, by a bank teller. So people have gathered outside in support of Janiyah. And this was realistic. In the day of social media, it's very realistic for news to be spread through social media and for people to rally behind people who have been accused of something. I love the full circle moment from Sinbad. He's outside, the news reporter's asking him questions, and now he's supporting her. He keeps saying how good of a person she is and how she gave him her last in the beginning. She gave him her last in the beginning. At the end, he was there for her, supporting her, and I love that. A moment I enjoyed was this beautiful monologue by Taraji where she explained her story and her life, and it's like a sister circle with Detective Raymond on the phone and the women in the bank, the older lady giving her words of encouragement. I love the sisterhood. Also, Janiyah is carrying around Araya's see-through book bag with her science project that resembles something like an explosive, so everyone thinks that's what it is, which was a nice touch, raising the stakes a little bit. Before finding out it wasn't what she thought, one of the tellers go to the bathroom and write on the wall, "It isn't real." So at this point, it's been many hours. So now the FBI is there and they're taking over. They feel okay to just go in now knowing that it wasn't real. And at the same time, Nicole was telling Janiyah to play off that a little bit because they handle situations with much more care when they think you're in possession of something like that. Another little small hole, there were a few moments where it appeared light outside from the inside, but then when they cut to the outside, it's pitch black. So another little small hole that I thought was funny. So the FBI totally reneged on giving her proof that they removed the officer. So Detective Raymond personally takes her phone and shows proof to Janiyah. So Janiyah releases the hostages. But Nicole stays back with her, which is really, really touching. Now the twist that I was not expecting at all. Janiyah receives a phone call from her mom who says the FBI is at her house. Then she drops the bomb. Janiyah's daughter, Araya, is dead. The twist is she has been dead for the entire day. She had a seizure the night before and was taken to the hospital where she died. So at this point, we see a montage of the day being replayed and realize that Janiyah was going about her day as if her daughter was with her. She was actually by herself. So that's why the principal was surprised to see her at school. And that's why Araya's backpack was still at home. She was experiencing trauma-induced psychosis. When Janiyah got a phone call from the school at work, it was actually a call about her her past due bills. The school never called and CPS was never involved. We also find out Nicole was aware of Aria's death and she stayed to protect Janiyah from herself and the situation. I thought this was a really nice twist and really hit you right in the heart at the end. I mean, she did all of this for her daughter who was not here anymore. Her mind was protecting her from this unbearable trauma. I really got emotional here. The twist just redefines everything you thought you knew, so it leaves you in such an emotional and vulnerable state. It shakes you. And then you see the FBI storm in and take her out, but you find out this is a hallucination too. We come back to reality and she peacefully surrenders, hand in hand with Nicole, and rides off in the cop car with the backdrop of supporters cheering her on. There have been some questions surrounding, was she hallucinating everything? And the answer is no. What was hallucinated was highlighted at the end, mostly involving her daughter and the FBI storming in and killing her. But aside from that, those were real events. It may seem like the events of the day were all extremely exaggerated and almost unbelievable, but I think that was intentional by Tyler Perry. He wanted to make these things feel so crazy that it seems they couldn't happen. But the thing is, they do. They happen to people every day, whether you see it or not. Yes, there are really bosses like hers. Yes, there can be days where bad things just keep happening back to back to back and you can't catch a break. I enjoyed this and I appreciated the story being told, the struggles of a single mom with no support, and the effects it has on you, not only in reality, but psychologically. This film may not seem realistic for many, but I know it hit home for me. I grew up with a single mom and saw the daily struggles and her working so hard to provide for me and my brother. So I know this is real. Everyone's gonna view this differently, but since I was able to relate, it hit me more on that emotional level and I felt a little more connected. And that's not gonna be everyone's experience, and I understand that. And that's okay. I also want to note this was shot in 4 days. Although Straw isn't perfect, it's bold and that counts for something. The performances are the film's anchor, and while the script has some bumps too, the emotional payoff and that twist make it worth watching. The film highlights the weight we carry in silence. It's about what finally breaks us and what we do in the aftermath. Let me know your thoughts on this film and what stood out to you. If you want to see more reviews from me, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment and a like. My name is Kamara. Thanks for watching another episode of Screen Diaries. Until next time, bye.